Hey everyone, hope that you all are doing well. So today we'll discuss how to make CRUD application using MongoDB. This video is in continuation with my previous video where we have learned how to configure MongoDB for Spring Boot application. So we won't be discussing about the configuration of MongoDB with Spring Boot. For that, you can click on the I button and watch the video first. I'll put the link in the description too. So before jumping into the video's context, I would request you, if you get to learn from my video, do click on the like button, share the video among your contacts, and if new to the channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon. So today, as I said, that we'll be making a CRUD application on MongoDB. So we'll be continuing our work on that project only that we developed in the previous video. Right, so let me take you to ID and let's open the project. So this was the project that we developed. So here you can see that we have MongoDB dependency, right? Spring Boot starter data MongoDB and Spring Boot starter web dependency, right? So these are the dependencies that you require to make a CRUD application for MongoDB, right? So this was the pom.xml. Let me take you to the controller. So we have already developed a controller in the previous video where we were saving the data to the database, right? Using the MongoDB repository, right? We have made a repository as well. So repository was made with extension to Mongo repository, right? So there are some already implemented methods in Mongo repository that we can use to perform database operations, right? So today we'll be making a CRUD application. So CRUD is like C is for create, R is for retrieve, U is for update, and D is for delete, right? So in the previous video we were using the product entity, right? And we were performing database operation on this product entity, right? So in this example we can increase some fields into the product entity. So I have increased the field of price in this product entity. Previously we were just working on ID and name, right? So I have increased the price right now for product entity. So right now we are also saving the price of the data, right? So now what we can do is we can simply go into the controller and we can start writing the CRUD operations. So as I said that create is already done. We are already saving data into the database. Now we have to make the get call, right? So we have to fetch the data. So we can make a get mapping, right? And we can say public get by ID, and we can simply return the product object only, right? So one product object would be returned from that particular ID, right? So now what we have to do is we have to have a path variable, right? And we can pass the string ID right here. So now our string ID would be coming as a path variable for our request for get mapping. Let me give the endpoint as well. So I can give the endpoint as slash get by ID and slash ID, right? So ID will be passed as a path variable in this URL. So now we have to return a product object after the person hits with an ID. So what we can do is we can simply say return product repo, right? Product repo dot find by ID, right? So there is a method called as find by ID. So we can simply pass the ID object here, and find by ID actually returns an optional output, right? So it returns an optional output. So what you have to do is you have to put in a get here, right? So then only you can return the object. So why it is giving error on product? Okay, the name of the entity is products, right? So now we have the endpoint made for fetching the data by ID. Now the person can have an option also to retrieve the data, all the data present in the database. So how will you make the endpoint? You have to again mark it as a get mapping, right? And simply you can simply say the endpoint could be like get all, right? And you can make a method here. Now there could be number of product objects present in your database, right? So now you have to return a list of products. So you should return a list of product, right? So list of first I have to import the list. Right, now products, right, list of products, right, and we can say get all. Right, now we won't be getting anything as an input. If the person hits the get all endpoint, we just simply have to fetch all the data from the database and show it to the user. Right, so we can simply say return product repo dot find all. Right, find all. Right, so it will return a list of products. Now we are done with create, we are done with update, we are done with create, we are done with the fetching, retrieval. Now we have to perform operation for updation of the data. Right, so now if I say that we have to update data, then again we have to post some data to the database, so we have to make a post mapping. Right, so now if I say slash update for this call, and let me write a method here, public, and we'll be returning again the updated version of the object. So we'll again return products and we'll say update data. Right, here also we'll be getting input of some fields. Right, if the person wants to update like amount, right, the price of the product, then he can update it. Right, so you can more specifically describe update price. Right, and you can mark this as update price. Right, so now we'll be getting the object, right, object of product. You don't have to simplify it into different models. You can simply take the exact entity from the user. So you can mark this as product, and what you have to update first. So what you have to do is you have to first fetch from the ID that has been supplied by the user. So when the user is trying to update some object, then he has to supply the ID to the user, right, to the application. Right, so let me fetch data from the ID that has been supplied by the user in this product object that he'll be giving me from the postman input. Right, so what we can do is we can simply say product prod equals product repo dot find by ID. Right, you can see the find by ID data, then optional, so you have to do a get to make it as a product. So you can say find by ID, and what we have to pass here is product dot, okay, I have misspelled it, product dot get ID. Right, so it will return me an object of product. Right, so now what I have to do is I have to check that, okay, if this product is present by this ID, I am fetching the data from the database. If this product is present, then only I have to update that update the price that the user is sending. Right, so if I can check if prod, better we can simply remove this get, because we'll get a inbuilt method of is product dot, no, I should get an optional. Okay, I have to mark this as an optional, right, and right, so optional is being marked. So now let me import optional. So product dot is empty, so I'll get the pre-built method of is empty. So it will check that, okay, if the product object is empty, but now I have to perform that if it isn't empty. Right, so I'll apply a not sign, and I'll say that if the product is not empty, then you have to update the product, so update the price of the product. So what I have to do is I have to simply say prod dot get dot set price. Right, and price will be set from this product object. Right, from this product object that we are getting. Right, get price. Right, so now it will get updated, and now what we have to do is we have to simply say product repo dot save. Right, And what we have to say, the entity that we have to save is this only, the product entity only, because as we have updated in the object that is already present in the database, right? So what we can do here is we have saved the data, we can simply return this data, right? The updated data will be returned, or else if the option is not present, then what we have to do is we have to simply save the data into the database. So what we can simply say, return product repo dot save, and we have to save the product entity, right? We are getting the product and we will save the product entity. If it isn't present in the database, then we have to simply save the object that is coming as an input to us, right? So this will update the data into the database. This call will update the data into the database, right? So now we are done with the creation of CRUD, and then we have done with the retrieval of the CRUD. Then we have also done the updation of that CRUD. Same way you can also update the name of the product, right? Same way you can make a method where you can update the name of the product, right? Now we have a call of get as for delete as well. So we'll mark it as a get mapping, and we'll say simply say get delete by id, and we can have the curly braces and we can mark the id as id, right? And we can make a method here, public. Now delete doesn't have any return type, it is a void method, so we can simply return a string message indicating that the item is already been deleted. So we'll say public string delete by id, and we can pass this same way path variable, right? And we can say string id, right? So what we can do here is we can simply say, first we'll perform the operation for deletion. So we'll say product repo dot delete by id, right? And id will be passed, and then we can simply say return item product deleted successfully, product deleted successfully, right? So we can return this as an output, right? So now we are done with the CRUD operations, right? We have used the delete by id call. You can also use the delete call, deleting all the data from the database, right? So we are done with the CRUD operation. First one is to create the data, that is a save call. Then we are fetching the data, so we can fetch by two ways. We can fetch by id, or we can fetch all the data from the database. Then we have an operation for updation, right? Updating the data into the database. So that is the updation of the price into the database. And then we have the call for delete by id, right? So our CRUD operation is done. Now the configuration part, I won't be going in the nitty-gritties. I have already configured the database into my application, right? So my database is already present here. So my database is already configured. If I take you to the browser and I take you to the MongoDB, so this is my cluster, right? So cluster has a product collection, right? And product collection has 0 results, right? Right now there is no result present. So now let me run the application and let me first do some save operation to the database, right? So let me go on my main application and let me run the application. Server has started. So yes, the server has started here. Now let me go to Postman and let me post some data, right? So I have this save call, right? I have to put in some data like product name. So my product name is pen, and let me give the price, right? Price, and the price would be like, or I don't have to use this, maybe 50 rupees, right? So I can use 50 rupees as a price, and let me put the save call. Let me hit the save. So you can see that the call is success and the data saved into the databases with this ID, right? So this is an auto-generated ID by Mongo. That's a string ID, right? So data is being saved into the database. So let me refresh the database collection, right? And you can see that the one item entry has been there. So it is loading the results. So this is the data, right? So pen is the name of the product and the price is 50 rupees, right? So now I should save some more data, right? So I can say a book and I can give the price as maybe 100 rupees, right? So let me save this. So now this is also saved. So let me refresh it. Let me refresh the data. So we have two entries, one with the name pen with the price 50, another with the name book and price 100. Now what's the second call that we have to make? Let me go to product controller, right? So what was my second call? It was like get by ID and we have to pass the ID, right? So let me copy this and let me go to Postman. Let me place this request here, right? In place of ID, what you have to do is you have to fetch data. So let me go to the, right, so I can copy the ID from here, right? So copy this ID, I have to fetch the data of pen, right? So put this ID here and make this as a get call, right? So we don't need the body, so let me mark it as none and let me send the request. So yes, you can see that I have put this ID here, so it has fetched the data on the basis of this ID. If I put the second ID, so it should fetch the data on the basis of second ID. Let me put this ID here and replace this ID. Send. So yes, you can see that the book data is being returned. Now we have the another call of get all, right? So it will fetch all the data, right? So let me take this call, right? Let me put this call here and let me do the get calling. So it will return two data, right? So you can see that one data is of pen, another one is a book, right? So this is fetching all data from the database. Now we have the third call for updation of the data, right? So let me say update price and let me replace this call. Let me say post, right? So we have to post the data and now we need a raw data. So what we need here is if I say that I want to update the price, so I have to supply the ID of that object, which object's price I want to update. So if I say ID and I have to place the ID here, right? So let me take you to the browser again and suppose I have to update the price of pen, right? I have to make this price of pen from like 50 rupees to maybe 75 rupees, right? So let me say comma and let me update this price to 75 rupees, right? So I have to update the pen price from 50 to 75 rupees. So let me hit this update price. So yes, you can see that the data returned here is that the price is updated to 75. Now let's go to the browser and let me refresh the. Right now you can see that you can see that the price is 50. Now if I refresh the database and let me go here, the price would be updated, right? So pen price has been updated to 75 rupees and the book price is still 100 rupees, right? So now updation part is also being done. Now let's delete the data. So it's delete by ID. So let me supply the ID here, right? Let me go to Postman and let me first update the call. Again, that delete call is of get call. So let me say get and let me say none for the body. And now I have to update the ID here, right? So let me update the ID for maybe pen, right? So let me delete the data of pen. So let me place this ID here and let's hit this endpoint, right? So it says product deleted successfully. Now if I refresh the database, pen entry should be gone, right? So pen entry should be gone, only book data should be present. So yes, you can see that only book data is present and pen entry is gone. So this is how you can perform the CRUD operations on MongoDB as well. It's a simple way that how you can perform with the document-based database or maybe with the table-based database. Just that some configurations are a little different, right? Otherwise, writing the code for performing database operations is more or like same, right? So this was it from this video. Hope that you people support by liking the video, commenting on the video and do share among your contacts. Please, if new to the channel, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Hope to see you in the next video. Till then, happy learning.